2 years ago, when I started my journey learning to play tennis left-handed, most of my focus was on learning the foundational techniques. Now, as part of that, I was working on my footwork, I was working on movement to the ball, because being the correct distance from the ball is really important for being able to use optimal biomechanics. But my primary focus was on the technical side of things, really developing the basics. Now that I'm getting more comfortable with the basics, what I'm going to start to work on moving forwards is going to change. Now, there's still going to be an element of focus on the technical side of things, because there's still a lot of things that I need to continue to improve if I'm going to achieve my goal of becoming a 5.0 player with my left hand. But really, the way my training is going to change is I'm now going to focus on trying to be as fast and as efficient as I can with my movement, trying to be as reactive as possible so that I can get to more balls and so that I can set up in more optimal positions for shots. And that's going to create a fundamental change in the way that I've been doing a lot of my training, because up until now there's been a lot of single ball feeds focusing on shots in specific positions. I know where the ball's going, I have rehearsed the footwork ahead of time, and now I'm literally just programming in and getting the repetitions. But as you know, that's not how tennis is played. When you're playing tennis, your opponent's job is to make it as difficult as they can for you, and they definitely don't hit it into a nice, comfortable position every single shot. And that's really one of the most important skills in playing high-level tennis, your ability to react to the different types of shots that are coming towards you, to be able to set up in the most optimal position possible, so that then you can play the best shot possible within the given situation. So this is something that I'm going to be reflecting more in my practice as I move forwards. Instead of those single feeds, I'm going to be working more on different variations with the ball machine, practicing with more different practice partners and playing more points, training and improving my ability to deal with different types of shot. So what I'm going to do in this video is explain the 3-step process that I'm working through to enable me to improve in this area. Okay, so let's break this down. In terms of moving quickly and efficiently to set up in position on different shots, there's a few parts to it. One of the most important areas is going to be the timing of your split step. So you have to land just after your opponent makes contact with the ball, so that then you can use the elastic in your muscles to spring and move as quickly and efficiently as possible. So this is going to be one of the big focuses of my training. So when I'm working with a ball machine like I was working here, I obviously can't see my opponent's swing, so what I'm trying to do is time the landing of my split step based on the sound that the ball machine makes as it's about to feed. So even when I'm working on mini tennis at the start of the session, I'm still trying to land and be as springy as possible, so the instant that I land, I move efficiently towards the next shot. And then as I move towards the back of the court, I just continue the process. The priority is the same, trying to listen for the sound of the ball machine, trying to land my split step obviously nice and wide and stable, and be as reactive as I can with that first step, ideally trying to move as directly as I can towards setting up in the optimal position. And the way that I've got this set up with the ball machine, it's placed behind the net, and the particular ball machine that I've got's got internal oscillation, so I can't really tell where the ball is going, so I have to be very reactive. So that's what I'm focusing on there. Now, when I'm practicing with other people, it's a little bit different. Now I'm trying to time things visually with their contact point. So the variables, obviously, you have to take off from your split steps, you're going to be leaving the ground, and then you want to be landing just after they've made contact, then hopefully you can see where the ball's going and then move as quickly using that stored elastic in the muscles. And this is a skill that you really need to train. You have to focus on it a lot. So I'm expecting it to take me 6 months as a minimum, probably more like a year, to be confident doing this at the level that I need to, because you have to calibrate for every single opponent that you're playing. Some players have got big loops on their shots, some players have got small loops on their shots, so you have to think about taking off for your split step so that you can land at the right time based on different parts of their swing. And then when they're serving, again, some players have got high ball tosses, some players have got low ball tosses, so you have to think about when you start your split step so that you can land at the right time. And this is a skill that you have to develop and be able to adjust on the fly as you move and play against different players. The next part is going to be your visual
reaction speed, because what we've just talked about is landing and timing your split steps, that you're landing just after your opponent makes contact. The idea there being that you're able to read where the ball's going and then use that stored elastic in your muscles to move quickly to the shot. But that depends on you being able to read and predict where the ball is going fast enough. If you don't have that part, then everything is going to go wrong from there. So what I work on is training and improving my visual processing speeds. Now, my visual system already works well enough to become a 5.0 player because I was already at that level with my right hand. So pure vision, that side of things is okay for me. But I continue to train my visual system because I want it to be as good as I possibly can be. But in the past, my visual system wasn't working sufficiently well. So I did have to do a lot of work previously to get to the level that I was at. I did a lot of training for my eye movements to make sure that my eyes were moving well in all different directions and I could track the ball properly. I did a lot of work on training visual processing speeds using different types of chart drills, using different training exercises, using the computer and using a special type of goggles to help speed up visual processing speeds. I also did various different corrective exercises to address some eye alignment issues that I was having and to teach my brain to use the image from both eyes together, because I had something called visual suppression, which prevents your brain from using both eyes, and that really affects your ability to judge distance and depth, and that's obviously going to be absolutely crucial for your ability to quickly read where the ball's going. So I had to fix a lot of things in the past. Now I just continue to train these things to try and get my visual system functioning to the best level I possibly can, because obviously I want to continue to improve my tennis, and the faster I can read things visually, the better I can be. Now, if you would like to learn a little bit about this side of the training, this is one of the main things that I help tennis players with. I've created a masterclass that's going to teach you about vision training and other neuroathletic training to improve tennis performance. I'll place a link up there and I'll place a link down in the description so that you can check out that class if you're interested. And then the third part to this is going to be the footwork and the specific movement to the ball. And when we talk about this, we actually need to break this down into three different parts all on its own, because we've got the footwork itself, the technical side of the footwork. We've already mentioned the split step, landing nice and wide, because we want to be able to move quickly in different directions. After the split step, we've got the first step, and depending where the ball is, we've got a number of different types of first step that we might need to be using. So there's a few different options when we're moving towards the forehand side. We've got options moving for the inside out or inside in forehand, and then we've got options when we're moving to the backhand side. And when it comes to footwork, you just have to program things in and do repetition after repetition so that your body knows and understands these movements, and then providing your visual system's working well, you can then just use the appropriate first step to move quickly to the ball. And that was really what I was focusing on within my on-court practice as well. And then after that first step, we've then got the specific footwork patterns to move to the shot. So these are all things that you have to program in and do over and over again. And I mean thousands of repetitions of good quality footwork before you're really going to be able to play high level tennis. So we've got the technical side of the footwork, but then we also need to have the physical capabilities of implementing that footwork. And that can mean a few different things, but I want you to think about this as kind of another three. Things are always threes, but three things. We've got the coordination. So you need to have the ability to coordinate these movements, and you can do various different on-court and off-court training exercises to improve your coordination. I'm doing a lot of work on my left leg at the moment because I've got a slight deficit that I need to address. After coordination, we've now got strength and we've got flexibility. So if we think about strength, you have to have strong enough legs, and especially your calves, your feet, your ankles, so that you can be springy and reactive for the whole duration of a 3-set match. So I continue to try and improve strength in this area so I can be as springy as possible. And then the rest of your leg strength is also going to be important. And then the third part to the movement is going to be flexibility. Now for me, this is one of the big areas that I continue to focus on, because traditionally I was always extremely inflexible. I'm definitely not like Djokovic. I'm far from being at that sort of level yet, but I'm much less terrible than I used to be. So I continue to spend a lot of time working on my flexibility. And there's no right or wrong with this. whatever you need to work on to improve is what you need to work on. Some people need to prioritize coordination, some people need to prioritize strength, some people need to prioritize flexibility. But just like we said with the visual system, if your visual system isn't capable of reading where the ball's going quickly enough, you won't be able to do it. And if you're not strong enough, flexible enough, or coordinated enough, then you won't have good footwork no matter how many times you practice the different footwork patterns. So for all of these different steps, we've got to kind of break them down, figure out what we need to work on, and then we have to train those underlying things and get them to the point where they're functioning well enough to allow us to play tennis in the way that we want. Now, if you would like to learn more about how to kind of break your tennis down like this and work on all of these underlying systems, this is what I help tennis players to do. I have a full program called the Neuro Tennis System that teaches players how to use neuroathletic and other cutting edge training methods to become a better tennis athlete. And if you want to become a better tennis player, you need to be a better tennis athlete. You don't get to just practice and shortcut the process. Your body has to be capable of playing at the level that you want. So like I mentioned earlier, I've got a free class that's going to go into more detail about it and kind of teach you how it all works. I'll place a link up there. I'll place a link down in the description so that you can check that out if you're interested. And then towards the end of that class, it's going to explain a little bit more about my program and what's involved and the next steps if that's something that you're interested in exploring. Okay, hope you have enjoyed the video. Any comments or questions, leave them down below, and I'll catch you next time.